Catullus I Bonnet Turnus.
And Morpheus.
Let's begin by reading the poem. Miser Catulle desinas ineptire, et quod vides perise perditum ducas, fosere quondam candidi tibi solis. Cum titubas quo puella ducibat, amata nobis quantum amabiter nulla, ibi illa multa cum jocosa fiebant, qua tu volebas nec puella nolabat, fosere vere candidi tibi solis. Noc iam illa non volt, tu quoque impotens noli, nec quae fugit sectare, nec miser vive, sed obstinata mente perfer abdura.
Vale puella, iam Catullus obdurat, nec te requiret nec rogabit in vitam, at tu dolebis cum rogaberis nulla, scelesta vae te, quae vit tibi manet vita, quis nunc te adabit, qui videberis bella, quem nunc amabis, cuius esse diceris, quem basiabis, qui libella mordebis, at tu, Catulle, destinatus obdura.
And so begins Catullus's everlasting fight between his passionate love for the girl and accepting the rejection he faces. Here in Catullus 8, we find Catullus trying to pressure himself into a false sense of strength. He resolves to endure the pain of leaving the girl, explaining to himself that the girl cannot to return his love. Eventually, though, Catullus unintentionally breaks down, revealing to the reader that leaving the girl is not easy for him to do.
Looking at the first sentence, miser Catulle is in the vocative case. Catullus uses this case, combined with his use of hortatory subjunctives, to command himself to desinas ineptire and vides perisse. So what was Catullus so blind about? We soon discover that he was immersed in his love for the puella. Catullus recounts the jocosa that he had with the girl, and the candidi soles of their relationship. Catullus is clearly indicating to us the extent of the happiness he had. However, Catullus uses litotes to describe that the relationship was one-sided. The girl did nec nolibat him.
After painfully and heart-wrenchedly describing the agony of not having his love return, Catullus changes his tone. Nunc, he commands himself, to nec miser vive and obdura. He uses powerful imperatives to pressure himself into enduring this tough time, to stop living a miserable life.
But what must he do to achieve his happiness? He must finally say goodbye to his lover. Vale puella, Catullus proclaims, it is time to leave the girl.
Catullus now embarks on a list of rhetorical questions, where we notice a definite change in the tone from the rest of the poem. Catullus first asks about the girl's vita, which is very general, not at all implying the connection they had. When he asks qui videberis bella, Catullus suddenly becomes more intimate, indicating that he still thinks that she is beautiful. In line 17, Catullus asks qui libella mordebis. The gentleness of nibbling shows Catullus in a more sensitive state as he recalls the intimate acts of their relationship. Compared to the rest of the poem, we see such romantic and soft language. These questions beg for sympathy from the reader.
In conclusion, Catullus tells himself that he must obdura the breakup from this girl, using forceful language once again to issue that he needs to leave her, even though it is so painful.
Now let's look at the possible interpretations of Catullus 8. Is it a personal attack on the girl, a wake-up call for Catullus, or a desperate plea for the girl's love?
The affront on the girl is very pronounced in this poem. Catullus calls her scelesta, talks about her inability to love him back, and seemingly paints a villainous portrait of the girl. It is possible that Catullus is using this poem as a way to badmouth the girl. We can also analyze Catullus's use of imperatives to prove that this poem is his way to convince himself to move on from the girl. The most prime evidence of this thesis is that he says vale puella, literally telling the girl that he is leaving. Catullus uses the word obdura to indicate not only that he will leave the girl, but also stay strong during the separation. However, it is difficult to say if he will be able to weather the storm of the breakup.
Beyond all of his nasty words and attempts to command himself to endure the separation, there is an underlying tone of desperate love for this girl. Catullus describes how happy he was with her and how intimate their relationship was. The best proof that Catullus is still fully in love with the girl is the section of rhetorical questions that we talked about earlier. He asks her, qui videberis bella and cuius esse diceris, which emphasize the idea of possession involved in love. Catullus enjoys having someone to compliment and savors the idea of having the girl as his own.
This interpretation of the poem is perhaps the most interesting to consider because it does the exact opposite of what the other parts did. Instead of convincing himself that he doesn't need the girl, this is really a plea from Catullus to reconvene their romance.